Okay, number one, again, maybe this is a bias I have about integrations. I generally think integrations are difficult, all right? I want to go to the footnote. 61. 61 says, you might find this reduction formula useful. Now, granted, some students say, I was told to memorize that reduction formula, and I'm not saying that you weren't told to memorize it. I'm just saying I'm not memorizing reduction formula. I'm giving that reduction formula to you, all right? So maybe it's helpful. I don't know. So what I do over here, I'm going to say maybe it's helpful, all right? And what I do over here is looking at the problem. I put my work down. Again, there's a video over here if you want to take a look at that. And I thought it was a difficult problem. And certainly if you look at it, it goes on and on and on, but eventually I do get to the end of it, all right? I put my answer down there, all right? Number two says, find the coefficient of that term that has x7 in it for this expansion over here. This is a multinomial expansion, by the way, right? I post a video, I also post the work, and I go through that, all right? I put the answer down at the end, by the way. Do I find these difficult problems? No, but do I find them tedious? I do. I find it tedious, all right? Anyway, let's keep going. Number three. Number three says which one's bigger, and often people look at these things and say, well, let me get my calculator out and see which one's bigger. It's not what we're looking for you to do, by the way. So I'm going to say, you can do a calculator over here, but that's not the point of it. The point of it is, can you do this without a calculator, all right? Now, someone says, well, I can't do 2 to the 162, nor can I, and I can't do 9 to the 54. So what I do is I go through some work over here. The question mark is indicating to me is I don't know which one's bigger, but eventually I get to a conclusion about which one's bigger, by the way. I also pointed out what a calculator looks like over here. But again, looking at these two numbers over here, I'm going to say, they're certainly comparable looking at them now. I see the length of them. But the bottom line is we're not asking you to use a calculator. We're asking you to use your head, all right? So using your head, in my opinion, is way easier, all right? But again, you make those decisions yourself, by the way. Number four, what am I saying? X is a real number. It satisfies this equation over here. And then they get this thing over here, somehow related to this over here, for some k. Compute the k, all right? Now, someone says, how do you do that? Well, I would struggle with that. And certainly if someone says, what do you mean struggle with that? I'd have to work through that. And doing that, I want to point out, I put some work down over here, and I go through that, all right? It's not easy. If you notice my work over here, this looks like it keeps going and going and going. And that's nice to know, by the way, that it keeps going to an answer. I also wanted to say that sometimes occasionally I post me using a computer algebra system to do it. And certainly, basically I'm going to say it's a lot easier using computer algebra system to answer questions. But this is not our goal. However, it may be one of your goals is to learn how to use a computer algebra system. And the one I'm recommending is Sage. And Sage is open source. You can install it on your computers, and you can use it. All right. You can also use a web-based application to do it. All right. Number five is solve. Again, I want to point out, when I'm putting these links down over here, it's probably somebody else solving the problem too. So X is a real number. I do post a video, and I do post my work over here, by the way. The video and the work together may be sufficient for you to understand that, all right? I also put a graph down, all right? What's the graph for? It's to help me understand what the solutions are in the problem looking at it. And again, you may want to take a look approach of that and say, what do they do there? Ask questions if you do have questions, by the way. Let me see if there's another question. Nope, that's it. So that was 5 questions. Typically, we're looking at 5 questions each so far. Thank you.